Do you remember sitting in science class, learning about the inner workings of a human body? Sitting there bored, your mind wandering off over and over again about anything else but that class. Like, can Goku beat Gojo, or who would win in a twerk-off, our precious king or nobody, because we know who is winning. Then your brain comes back, lost as fuck, looking like Zoro's goofy ass, but this day, something is different. The vibes are something you never felt before, and that's when the teacher puts on something, and it's not Bill and I the science guy, but Cells at Work. And let me tell you, I have learned so much shit from this show. It's actually kind of crazy how much I've actually been able to learn. Like, did you know that blood circulates in the body and that red blood cells provide oxygen and other nutrients to the cell? Well, now you know. I won't lie, if I had this show when I was in like middle school, I definitely would have aced all my tests and paid attention the whole class. Because this shit is just sometimes so hard to turn away from. It's pure enjoyment, a fun ride with plenty of twists and turns along the way. Each episode they talk about a new cell and the main function it has within the human body, and it's packed loaded with so much information and so many big fucking words. Like, why do you gotta be so big? I had to switch to dub to understand some of the shit they were saying because honestly I had no idea what they were talking about. Literally, I didn't even know how to fucking read it. Look at this word and tell me if you can pronounce it. Like, what is an ethroblast, bro? What is that? Well, with this show I can actually tell you what it is. It's when a red blood cell blah blah blah, and then gets when it goes boom in the blood marrow, allowing it to mature into a big blood cell that would allow it to help the other cells. That was a lot to talk about, but now you know what ethroblast is, and look how much more thoroughly entertained you are. Actually insane how much more you paid attention. And that is this whole show. I didn't even know there were variations of a white blood cell, but you got regular white blood cells, you got T cells which have hella variations. I could go on and on and on about what cells do and how they work in general, but then why would you watch the show? This series follows two main characters, more so in the first season than in the second season. The first season we follow our main blood cell AE3803, who is kind of the source of everything that happens in the series. She's kind of a dumbass in the worst possible way. She would be us if we were thrown into the human body, and that's kind of crazy to say because this is her job. She's constantly lost when she has one of the most important jobs in the entire body. She must deliver nutrients and oxygens to the other cells so they can live and do their jobs because she is a red blood cell. But this allows plot to happen, so it's not really a bad thing that she gets lost, but because of all of this, it allows us to meet our other main character, and that is main white blood cell U1146, aka Mr. White Blood Cell. I know, very creative. But he helps Miss Blood Cell get to where she needs to go, and her getting lost allows him to find all these infections and germs that he would have had a much crazier struggle to find. Because for some reason, trouble always seems to find Miss Blood Cell. A whole episode is dedicated to her getting lost and the white blood cell protecting her, which is kind of funny. The whole first season is really her having a slow turn into becoming a dependable cell that doesn't need outside help, but she is allowed to build these relationships from all the other cells she meets, which is kind of cool. And deep down, I really like to believe that all this does happen inside our bodies, because the amount of lore this adds is actually amazing. Just imagine sitting there and your cells are just fucking around in your body, getting drinks or just fucking around with other cells. I can only imagine how crazy some cells would be, or how different all their personalities would be that could exist throughout your entire body. Like, you know those random ass headaches you get? Yeah, that's just your cells fucking around with you. It truly does add massive lore to the human body. Like, this is so much cooler than this, and I think anybody would gladly agree that this shit is so much cooler than anything we got. So when I have kids, I'm telling them this is the shit that goes on inside your body. So fuck what your teacher says because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But the second season is more about Mr. White Blood Cell and his adventures running around the human body, and the red blood cell kinda gets sidelined. Like, she is hardly there at all, which is pretty crazy considering she's still a main character, but much less of a main focus compared to the other episodes. And let me tell you, whoever's body this is, they have like the worst fucking luck humanly possible, because most of the shit that happens is actually kinda crazy. They get the flu, then they get food poisoning, then cancer, then a heat stroke, and then they bust their head wide ass open, and then they get cancer again. They gotta put homie up in some sort of bubble wrap, cause holy shit, it's actually kind of crazy. The luck of this poor person has to be up there with some of the worst all time. And I love how they visually show all of this. Like, when they get blood transfusion, it's just a bunch of new red blood cells and they have no idea what the fuck is going on, and start clowning the other red blood cells because they aren't doing their job, because 90% of them fucking fell out of homie's head. Each cell has something different about them. They have their own personalities, their own character arcs, and their own kind of growth. I love that the author actually did research, because the platelet cells, which are used to repair holes by forming blood clots so the blood doesn't go through the open section, and according to the wiki, they said the reason for them being depicted as children is because they're actually very small. So I fact checked them, and fun fact, platelet cells are actually 6 to 8 times smaller than a red blood cell, so them being children actually makes real sense. Boom. Science on your head. But this does show that the author does appreciate the actual human body and what the fuck's going on. I also love how they depict the sicknesses, like with the heat stroke, everything is dried up and the cells are dying from the heat. And even one of the cells does a rain dance, and then a gigantic tube comes from the sky and rains down water, whatever you get whenever you're dehydrated and you're having a heat stroke. I don't know what the fuck it is called. Or the acne being people that are just living in the hair follicles, trying to just eat the mucus or whatever the fuck it does. I can't remember. And the cancer cell also has a tragic backstory. Obviously, it being a mutation of a regular cell, it has a truly tragic backstory and wants revenge, wanting to take over the body. But they do stop him. Spoilers. This show is worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet, purely for the information. So if you're learning about cells of the human body, watch this show and show that fraudulent teacher of yours that you know more about the human body than their 10-year degree or whatever it takes to become a teacher. I don't know, because I'm not one. This show teaches you so many things about the human body, and it's so easy to check it out. Plus, it's only 12 and 8 episodes respectively in each season, so go check it out. Cells at Work. Anyways, hope everybody enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and